Dr. Tarik Hasan. We're here today on Latin Times TV, and we wanted to have some of our readers and our listeners and viewers get to know you a little bit. So tell us a little bit about how you became a doctor and where you're from. And, you know, don't let the last name fool you. He speaks perfect Spanish. He's a Latino through and through. Tell us a little bit about how you became a doctor. What made you want to become a doctor?
Well, as you may know, I was born and raised in Panama.
Yes.
Yo como tamales y bailo salsa. Okay. And I was educated in a very Catholic country. The philosophy of helping people, you know, kind of like give the rod, not the fish, try to educate and raise and try to bring a more compassionate care for people. And at that time, you can imagine, 35 years ago, we didn't have that many choices of careers, and one of the ones that inspired me to be more compassionate and help people was medicine.
Okay, that's awesome. Did you decide, did you study medicine in Panama, or did you come to the United States to study medicine?
Good point. I graduated from medicine at the School of Medicine in Panama.
Okay.
Then came here, passed my tests, and complete the internal medicine residency in New York City at the Woodhull Hospital.
Okay.
After that, I completed a fellowship in nutrition at the University of Pennsylvania, and finally came to Tampa.
Tampa. And how long have you been in Tampa?
Wow, that's been since 1995.
Oh, okay. So you're practically a Tampa native already.
I'm a Tampeño.
A Tampeño. That's good. That's
absolutely.
good. And tell us about your practice in Tampa. What kind of patients do you see, and what do you specialize in?
Well, I am an internal medicine doctor. I usually see patients with problems in the line of hypertension, thyroid disease, asthma, arthritis. Very a multidisciplinary type of practice. And in the last few years, I have been looking more into some aesthetics procedure, something that is cutting edge in the practice of aesthetic medicine, and trying to introduce that to my patients and neighbors.
I'm glad you brought that up. Tell us a little bit about that. What does that involve? Who actually needs that type of service? Tell us about that.
Well, as discoveries are coming up in the medical science, we are finding non-surgical alternatives to improve our appearance.
Okay.
These non-surgical alternatives help to improve with your own resources, meaning the own body substances, sometimes, and this is what I actually focus on, in order to bring the best out of whatever you have inside you. One of the most, I would say, revolutionary treatments is the plasma with enriched platelets, which is basically you take the blood of the patient, you separate the red cells, and you keep the plasma with the platelets. Then you separate the platelets and the plasma, then you activate the platelets to release a growth factor. This growth factor is introduced under the skin at a very specific layer, which is the growing layer of the cells, and you release a little bit every few millimeters, producing a widespread of the stimulating growth factor, and that will eventually produce fresher, newer, more potent cells.
So is that sort of like a non-invasive type of facelift?
You can take it as that. I mean, if you don't have a good matrix in your cells, yes, I mean, it's not going to work.
Right.
But if we are able to find and do it on time, Not when you are 90 years old. But I mean, if you start at 30, 35, exactly, then we may be able to actually keep stimulating the cells and keep them, I don't want to say young, but rejuvenated.
Okay, so like similar to a fountain of youth, but you know, you obviously can't claim that, but you've had good results and have had success in helping people to look fresher and younger, more revitalized.
Well, surprisingly, this technique was not initially discovered by aestheticists.
Okay.
It was actually developed by sports medicine.
Wow.
People who had tendon and muscle injuries, they were injected this substance, and a lesion that may take an athlete out for 6 to 8 weeks may regenerate the muscle and the tendons in perhaps 2 or 3.
Wow.
Then that's when we noticed that these regenerating effects could be applied to the skin.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And who does that procedure here?
Me.
Okay, really? In Tampa? Huh?
Well, you have to realize this is a semi-invasive. You have to put a needle, and in order to do that, has to be somebody who has certain knowledge, a medical knowledge. You cannot trust this to somebody who may perhaps, not because of the technique. The technique is not the problem. The problem is not identifying an area of the skin where you can produce a bleed or is a lesion that may look premalignant, and then you will hyperstimulate this lesion and produce a bigger problem later. Then it's preferable to trust the analysis and the procedure to somebody with medical knowledge rather than somebody who may technically know what to do but not what to look for.
Right, yeah, I would imagine, because you know, if you want the best results, you got to go to people who are knowledgeable and who are capable of doing it from an MD point and not just a commercial point.
MD, DO, but somebody who can troubleshoot too.
Okay.
Not only the procedure, but the problem is, what if? That is the part that you need somebody to answer in case of a what if.
Right. And so, how long does this procedure take? And does someone come into your office and get it done here, or is this something that is done somewhere else?
The person comes. It's no special preparation except not coming with makeup, which some ladies may not be willing to. But the point is that the person comes, get the blood extracted. In the meanwhile, we do a cleaning of the area at a deeper level, and in about 45 minutes, everything is finished, done, and complete.
That's perfect. They could do it on a lunch break?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's incredible. I hear so much positive in this procedure, and we've reviewed other procedures where people do it at lunchtime as well and haven't had as good results. Totally different procedures, you know, but I'm happy to be able to share these procedures with our community, because you know, our community of women, Latinas, we love to look good until 90 something. So you know, that's very helpful to our community.
And it's a very important point, because the Latino gene is very special.
Yes.
The way that our women genetic matrix, it is very helpful. It is not the same as the Anglo background, which deteriorates very easily. The Latino woman has that ability to keep a nice, youthful looking skin, and will be the ideal person to have these procedures done in order to extend as much as possible that youth. Of course, you have to do with your personal habits, your diet, certain things, but the matrix is very nice.
Wow. And so, can you give us a range about how much this procedure costs and how many of them people typically need?
Sometimes the issue goes depending on the area, because some people want to focus more into the face area, some people want to focus into the neck area, some people have to focus into the hand area. We usually come to an impasse where we try to do between $300 and $400 per area.
Okay.
And if it's a different multiple areas, we can even arrange for a discount at that point. But it's always at the end the satisfaction of the patient.
Wow, that's completely reasonable. That's
very
way
reasonable.
Less than,
I mean,
yeah, way less than your traditional methods. Tell me a little bit more about your culture. What's your favorite type of food, and why do you love it?
I have to be careful with my food. You don't get to this weight just eating vegetables. But I will say that cooking is a passion. I like any kind of food. I am very adventurous. I go and I try Vietnamese food. I try Chinese food, Greek food. You name it, I'm game. But I can never bypass the opportunity to get a good chicharrón every time I go to Panama. I'm telling you, I actually pay extra just to pick the one I want. I say, can I get that one? And I go, but this is just a once a year, twice a year kind of
it's a treat.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm with you in those chicharrones.
Yes.
And tell me, if you could choose from the Latino communities, all the different countries, somebody that you look up to or have looked as an icon or a role model, so to speak, present or past, tell us who that would be and why you feel that way about that person.
Wow, that's an interesting question. I would say at an international level.
Wow, that's big.
I will say Ruben Blades.
I love him.
This is a man who has not only had the artistic vein, but the social vein. And it has been a pleasure to see him evolving for a very drastic person a few years ago to a more equilibrated and more wise kind of personality. I can tell you that I've been always thinking that because of his message through his music, he should be nominated for the Nobel Prize of Literature. I cannot imagine somebody who through poems, which are songs with music, I mean, poem is a song is a poem with music,
yes,
who has impacted the Latin American and European countries, not to mention the whole world,
yes,
with his message from Latin America. Yes. At the national level, I don't have any particular figure, but I like to see the way that the community is kind of like as a whole moving forward and unifying and creating a sense of identity.
yes.
And it's nice to see that at this point in the 21st century, we are not anymore Colombianos, Panameños, Ecuatorianos, we are Latinos.
Ah, yes,
We are Latinos. We are creating a conscious of unity.
Yes.
And at a local level, I will say I have a very good friend of mine, Evelio Otero.
Oh, yes.
Very, very vocal. He looks way beyond the trees, and he sees the Latino not as a tool, but an integral part of the American society, and not only the Latinos in the United States, but outside, to create links of not only financial, but artistical and even emotional connection with the United States of America.
Yes. We're actually very good friends.
Oh,
yes,
good.
We're
good,
very
good.
good friends. And I know that he, a couple years ago, ran for office, and this is somebody that we would definitely support. So
Oh, absolutely.
toot his horn
Absolutely.
when he's listening. But that's a very good answer. And so do you like Cuban sandwiches?
Yeah.
Okay, and so what's your preference, traditional or non-traditional? And who do you think makes the best Cuban sandwich?
I am a traditionalist in certain foods, but the way that people approach the inventing the new venues of here, I will definitely would like to see the new twists in the Cuban sandwich generation. Yes, I definitely would like to try that.
I don't know if you heard or not, but yeah, I mean, you're a big sponsor of the Cuban Sandwich Festival, so I wanted to share. Yes, you are.
Oh, yeah, good.
And
yes,
I wanted to share with you that we just received word that Mayor Bob Buckhorn is going to issue a proclamation to make March Cuban Sandwich Month. So, what do you think about that?
Congratulations! That is an excellent
Yes.
achievement. I'm impressed. Very nice.
Well, you know, Cuban sandwiches, everybody loves them, even God.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. Definitely.
Well, thank you for talking with us.
My pleasure. Anytime.
We look forward to continuing this conversation on a later date. And for those of you at home, if you want information on Hasan Medical Group, they are at 5420 Webb Road, and their phone number is area code 813-868-6188. I hope that we can visit with Dr. Hasan again soon. Thank you again.
Anytime. Thank you.